Russell Wilson, personal assistant. What do you think? You interested? And I'm like, whoa, like back up. What are we talking about?
Yeah, you're the first of the Mohicans, brother.
Wow. What an honor, boys. Holding it down for the walk-ons. Let's go. Funny enough, I grew up a Clemson fan. I have every record, every passing record in Wando history, and I got no offers. Hits me right in the chest. I drop it. I'm like, dude, what are we doing? Here we go. Saturday. I'm gonna run the fake, If you're gonna be a street sweeper, be the best damn street sweeper there ever was.
Tailgate Talks is proudly presented by our title sponsor, Green's Beverages, South Carolina's go-to spot for all things beer, wine, and spirits. This episode is brought to you by the High Rise Beverage Co., real fruit-infused THC and CBD seltzers with zero artificial flavors or colors. Born in South Carolina, High Rise is here to help you elevate every moment, from the tailgate to game day. Sip smart, sip local. Buy High Rise Beverage Co. at your nearest Green store today.
Looking for the perfect spot to unwind? Steelhand Brewing in Casey has you covered. Whether you're craving a refreshing craft beer or just a great time with friends and family, Steel Hands has it all. With a variety of craft beers, spacious outdoor beer gardens, and a delicious food menu, there's something for everyone. Plus, join them for free live music every Thursday through Sunday. Visit steelhandsbrewing.com to see their lineup of upcoming events or host your own. Handforce and Casey and voted best local brewery again this year. Go visit steelhandsbrewing.com. All right, tailgaters, what's going on? We are just post the Super Bowl here. What a very uneventful game. What'd you guys think?
I loved it.
Loved it. The quarterback play was terrible. You're not a defensive guy.
The bets hit, so I loved it.
So that's it.
Yeah.
So Super Bowl aside, we're joined here by Bailey Hart, former Gamecock. Glad you could join us this Monday evening.
Happy to be here, boys. So it's a pleasure.
Yeah, you're joining us from Charleston. You say you just moved back over there, right?
Yeah, I've been back in Charleston about 3 years. Born and raised here originally, but been back for a little while now.
That's great. Well, tell us like kind of the way we run these is like this is obviously a Gamecock podcast, but we want people to learn a little bit more about you and kind of your upbringing. And we have a lot of parents that listen in, so kind of take us back to youth sports and growing up down in Charleston and kind of the evolution of growing up and eventually being one of Wando's greats.
Yeah, absolutely. I like I said, born and raised in Charleston. Got 2 older brothers who always were playing sports, playing football specifically. And so growing up, I always was trying to get in with them. We're all 3 years apart, so I was trying to play with the older kids and try and keep up and try and make plays and try and kind of hold my own. And so I feel like from a young age, kind of had a chip on my shoulder and just always wanted to compete and be with those guys and be like my older brothers. They were both solid athletes. We all went to Wando. They both played football. One of them ran track in college. One of them played football, went on to play at Coastal Carolina, played quarterback there for a few years. My dad always coached us growing up. So we were in the rec leagues, the little, small fry, whatever it is. My dad's out there. So that was a fun, just like family football upbringing. That's kind of where my love for the game began, is just wanting to be like my brothers, wanting to be like my dad. And wanting to go out and compete and prove them that I was good enough to be on the same field. And so yeah, it was fun. It's Charleston's very different now than it was then. It was more of just kind of like your normal suburban town back then. Obviously, it's always been beautiful. It's always been a great place, but it's kind of blown up, in the past 10, 15 years. And so growing up,
it's kind of Yankee town now.
It is. Yeah.
A bunch of people from the Northeast have flocked down.
Yeah, that's a very real thing. And, I get it. You live in a great place. People are going to move there and it's going to get more expensive and congested and all those things. And so I can't really, blame anybody for wanting to live in my opinion, the best city in the country. But yeah, it's different. It's completely different. So growing up, it was a little bit more normal suburban town, going to the high school football games on Friday nights. Couple guys we just talked about, watching Stephen Flint, watching Michael Flint, and some of the guys that rolled through Wando High School before me. Always looked up to those guys. Always wanted to get on the field on Friday nights, and Yeah, it was a great place to grow up. Having my brothers and having my dad kind of pave the way in terms of football.
Yeah, I do know that. I mean, Mount Pleasant's a great like family city town, however you want to reference it. But it's so I know you probably. I mean, there's a lot of good athletes that roll through Mount Pleasant in that area. So I know that just from visiting Stephen Flynn, our good buddy in college, he had all of his buddies lived in his neighborhood, and I'm sure you had a pretty kind of similar upbringing where it was probably a lot of playing football in the backyard. Somebody has a basketball hoop, you're playing knockout, you're playing 21. I grew up in
Yeah.
in a very similar situation. I grew up down in Altamont Springs in a big neighborhood. I had an older sister, but across from me was my best buddy, Chris Guida. Next door, we had two or three girls down the street, kind of all over the place. So we had retention ponds. We played in retention ponds, and they're pretty freaking disgusting. But gonna find somewhere to get it in, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we had the Burlos's backyard. We had one family that had this big ass, field in their backyard, maybe 30 yards, something like that. But that was where it went down. Funny enough, I actually grew up in the same neighborhood as Stephen Flint and Michael. But
Hog
yeah, it
Creek,
was it
right?
was the same. Yeah, it was the same energy where it's like, all right, find the bikes, bring a ball of whatever sort, and just go get after it for like 6 hours and show up, back
Yeah,
at home for dinner time. It was cool.
that's great. That's
Yeah, those days are done. It seems like, man. I mean, I don't know what it's like over there in Columbia and Charleston, but I mean, in Tampa, you can't let your kids just go on a bike and say, "Hey, come back at dinner time," and expect them to come back. It's
see
a
that
whole different
that
operation
is
now.
one
Crazy.
thing I will say about Columbia. And I would imagine if like still in Charleston, I bet Mount Pleasant you still have that homey feel. But I live right here downtown Columbia. We're over in like Forest Acres, Lake Catherine, and it is the exact same childhood as that. Like my oldest son's 9,
Really?
about to be 10. But he'll put his gizmo on and after school and like, hey, we're going to call you when it's time to come home. And he finds the bikes and they're playing football in the backyard, front yard. It is a little like it is a little bit of like a throwback vibe here in Columbia. Like I had it when I was
Awesome.
younger. When we lived in Atlanta, we did not have it. Um, so I will say that is one incredible quality of Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah, that gets me fired up, man.
You
Hearing
and
that
you and you and Perry love Columbia, man. You guys are just team Columbia.
Hey,
What?
why not? This place is great.
Hey, I don't disagree. I don't disagree, but I know I heard Bailey say that Charleston's the best city in the world. He's mistaken. You ain't been to Tampa, brother.
I don't know, man. You can sell me. You can give me a sales pitch later on. I'm open minded, but
It-
until I get something that beats Charleston, I'm locked in.
Charleston's freaking beautiful, man. Absolutely beautiful. But I wanted to ask you, man. So did you? I know we always ask all the guys who come on here. Did you play any other sports other than football? And you had two older brothers or older brothers that you mentioned. I mean, did you play any other sports growing up, or what kind of led you to the football route?
Yeah, I played football, baseball, and basketball growing up. Always kind of balanced all three, but always just loved football more. I was always a little bit better at football than the other two. I was decent at basketball and baseball, but um, seventh, eighth grade started getting serious about football and just kind of figured it was time to give up the others and spend a little bit more time year round on football. And I think my dad was a big influence in that too. Football was always his sport. My brother's kind of the same way. Football, they lean that way. Once I got into high school, I started running track just to, that's the whole thing is like stay, run track so you can get faster and be a dual threat quarterback. So I drank the Kool-Aid and went out there and found myself with a 14-foot pole in my hand. I ended up pole vaulting
Yeah,
throughout high school just
I mean
randomly.
that's coordination and a half right there.
Exactly. Yeah. Cross training,
Jesus.
baby. Cross training.
Yep.
Um, but it was fun. It was a great experience. We ended up winning state my senior year for track, and I came in third personally at the pole vault, and had a great coach, had a good team, and it was like a fun little side quest that ended up being more fruitful than our like 4-8 football season or whatever it was.
Well, I mean, that kind of brings me to the next point, and we've had a bunch of our former teammates that obviously played in the NFL, and we're this and that. you have a different kind of story. So kind of give us through, like, kind of talk us through being a walk on. Where other schools did you? Let me ask you this:
Yeah.
did you have an opportunity to get to your school paid for from a smaller school, or did you were dead set on being a South Carolina Gamecock?
So yeah, my journey was different, man. I had no offers. I had a few smaller schools, like some D2 stuff, and some people come and say they were interested. No, like hard offers or hey, we're gonna, figure out a way to, get you paid for fully. But I didn't have a desire to go play, for a smaller university, and I kind of just gotten to the point where I had been accepted into South Carolina. Funny enough, I grew up a Clemson fan. Like my mom went to Clemson. I was never a diehard or anything, but like that's the team that I pulled for. And so senior year, I'm a 3-year starter. I have every record, every passing record in Wando history, and I got no offers. And I'm just sitting there like, man, I
That's
thought
crazy.
I thought Western Carolina was going to offer me, and I thought Elon was going to offer me. I visited both, talking to the coaching staff on a pretty regular basis. Western Carolina comes to a game. We play Lexington. I threw like 35 for 52 and like 415, and they didn't offer me. They left. I didn't hear from them again. And I was like, what? I mean, what am I missing here? And I was a small kid. I think that's a big part of it. I was like 6'3", 170 playing varsity football. And so there was more I could have done. I don't want to ever want to put it on somebody else. I think I want to be
By the way,
accountable for
that's not a,
everything.
that's not a small kid. Like I said, Diego's down here training. That's a small kid.
Yeah.
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 The f- can play. He can play some ball, but that he yeah.
A little
Yeah.
Go
different,
ahead.
a little different makeup in Bailey versus
Yeah. A
Diego.
little different build.
Like
Mildly.
5'9", 230.
Yeah, yeah. And that
Yeah.
well the concern that I got from college coaches was like, we just don't know if you're durable enough. And so that used to piss me off. And so like I kind of took it as a chip on my shoulder when I played and when like I'm the youngest of three boys. Like I grew up getting the crap beat out of me we're playing football on the street. Like we're not in the what did you call it? The pond? What is it?
The retention pond, yeah.
The
We're not
retention
in the
ponds.
retention
Yeah.
pond. We're like in the street, playing tackle football. And so like that's how I grew up, and I felt like I had that chip on my shoulder, and nobody wanted me, man. For whatever reason. And so I got to a point. My head coach was like, "Hey, I sent your tape to Clemson and Carolina, in-state schools. We'll see what we can get as far as a preferred walk on." I was like, "Yeah, it sounds great." But in my back of my mind, I was like, "Man, that's it. I'm not playing ball again." And so had gotten accepted into Carolina. I think I was like the bridge program at Clemson or something. So I was like trying to figure out, all right, where am I going to go to school? And get a call from Roper at Kurt Roper at South Carolina. He's like, hey man, we'd love to have you as a preferred walk on. And I don't know I think Jamie Speronis was there. I spoke to him as well, but it was a pretty like bang bang, come up for a visit, get to meet everybody, and like we'd love to have you as a preferred walk on. So for me, I was it was kind of a roller coaster of a recruiting process or lack of a recruiting process, I guess you could say. And so I was just excited to have a chance to continue playing ball.
I mean, that's kind of why I wanted to ask you about this whole deal is I'm kind of dealing with the same thing with my son. It's like do you want to go to a bigger school and walk on, be a PWO, or do you want to go to a smaller school, play, and kind of climb the ladder? And it's high school recruiting, Pat, is significantly different than when you and I were playing, dude. And
I
I'm
can
sure it's
only,
different than when Bailey was doing it.
Yeah.
yeah, I can only imagine.
It's God, I mean, it's a nightmare, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
You got the transfer portal, you got NIL. I mean, there's so many different avenues of stuff. All right, so anyway, that's a whole different subject. But all right, so you end up committing to South Carolina. You talk with Coach Roper, and kind of walk us through that whole operation. And listen, man, I don't tell your story, dude. Like, we Pat, I don't think we've had a walk on here, have
No,
we?
no, like getting a different insight. We've had a lot of people
It's an
ask for
honor.
us to have kind of a different side of the story on.
Yeah, you're the first of the Mohicans, brother.
Wow. What an honor, boys. Holding it down for the walk-ons. Let's go.
Yeah. You need some brown water for this story, man. You
I
don't be
might.
drinking that
I might
valley
have to pour a little
bullshit.
something on a Monday. Come on. Yeah, it was it was interesting. And I fought the same battle you're talking about, with your son, where it's like there were opportunities that if I had pursued, probably could have, like Wingate was one, and there was a couple other schools like North Greenville and Newberry that like kind of showed interest, and if I had mutually showed interest, who knows what would have happened? Maybe it would have worked out. Um, and I think about that sometimes too, of like I have student loans. I didn't have my school paid for. Like I'm paying for it now. But I think back and I'm like, man, I wouldn't trade that. I think the relationships, I think the lessons you learn through football, especially football at a big time SEC school like South Carolina. I mean, that stuff is priceless to me. And so I would do the same process again. And obviously you look back, there's like, there's areas where I'm like, man, I wish I would have focused on gaining more weight. I wish I would have focused on this or focused on that. There's things I do different, but I was grateful to have an opportunity to play college football, and so I tried to take the walk on mentality seriously and really just invest my time and being the best that I could be and trying to earn an opportunity to get on the field. But as far as the whining and dining and 5-star, 4-star, that the stuff that you guys may have got on your journey, I didn't get much of that. It was kind of like, hey, you show up day one, here's your locker, bud. Like, you're lucky to be here. Get your last year's sweats on and be grateful for it. You're not asking for new gloves or new cleats on, until you're at least year 2 or 3 and you've played a snap or two. So you definitely
Dude, I can't tell you how many times Pat and I would be at like Village Idiot or walking around Five Points, and we would see some of the walk-on guys. Pat,
in
remember we
their
called them the Matlock Specials, dude. These
Matlock
guys,
special.
they'd be wearing their Gamecock attire. It's like,
Oh man.
come on, man, like, what are you doing?
And like Muschamp was a good. I think he was a walk on himself. So I think we were
Mhm.
treated probably better than a lot of schools, and a little bit with a
Yeah,
little bit more equality than a few other schools, which I'm grateful for. But there was also
yeah,
an element of like, hey, you've got to earn your baseline. Like if you're not adding value to this team, whether it's scout team, whether it's film room, whether it's GPA, if you're not adding value in some way, that respect's not coming to you. But I do think in terms of like getting to travel, being on the sidelines and things like that. There's some schools that are pretty brutal with like, hey, if you're a walk on, you're an absolute black sheep. And so I'm grateful that Muschamp was the way he was.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you real quick, and just for our listeners, can you kind of describe what it is for a walk on to be on the team? I mean, you obviously do everything the team does, but like, are just kind of just describe what a walk on entails, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. So walk ons, you only get so many scholarships. University gets X amount. I don't even know what it is today. I know there's been a few changes, um, but essentially, let's say you have 85 scholarships, you've got 105 roster spots, right? So you've got 20 people that aren't on scholarship that are on the team. And so you've got preferred walk-ons, which is what I was, where you kind of had it lined up in high school, but you weren't like recruited. Sometimes preferred walk-ons are
Right.
situations where they're like bigger recruits, we're out of numbers, we're going to put you on scholarship as soon as we get one. So there's kind of like
mhm,
that tier of walk-on where it's like, hey, we know this guy's going to be a player and we just got to get our numbers straight. And then there's like a tier of like, hey, this is a good high school player. He doesn't have any D1 offers, but like let's bring him in, see if he grows into somebody who can help us. Maybe so, maybe not. His grades are straight. He'll help the GPA, whatever. And then there's like, walk-ons who have to try out. So, let's say you have kind of those first two tiers, maybe that's 10, 15 guys. And then maybe you have a few guys transfer out and you need 3 DBs to fill your DB room so you can run scout team. But essentially, the walk on kind of, especially entry level freshman year, is like, hey, you're doing the grunt work. You're on scout team. You're giving the first team guys a look. This isn't like, hey, let's get Bailey ready to go play on Saturday. This is like, hey, Bailey, put on
Right.
this red hat and put on this number that isn't yours and go get knocked around for a couple hours.
yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you real quick, and Pat, is this kind of similar to like a rookie camp type deal, an undrafted rookie contract? I mean, there's got
Yeah,
to
I
be some
mean,
sort of similarities.
yeah, I mean, definitely like it. I mean, granted, Bailey, I was a 2-star, so I was like barely above a preferred walk on. I think I was the last scholarship that came in, and I think a lot of that was because Coach Spurrier likes golf, and my uncle was really good at golf, and
Nice.
yeah, so
Use your leverage,
kind
baby.
of
Got to.
benefited from that. Thanks, Uncle. Thanks, Uncle Chris. Um, but yeah, I mean, I like the NFL was the same way. Like you come in as an undrafted rookie, like you're doing, you're going through the mini camp, you're going through all the off season stuff, but then when camp starts, like you're running, I'm doing 15 reps of special teams with the threes, just giving the starters looks. And I mean, even my career in the NFL, like I was on the practice squad for parts of 2 years. I was playing linebacker at times on the scout team. I was playing running
Yeah.
back at times on the scout team, receiver at times on the scout team, like playing all 4 phases of special team scout team. So it is like, I mean, it kind of makes you like the ultimate team guy in a way because you're sitting there
Yeah.
and you're getting your shit pushed in,
Hmm.
running around, putting your heart and soul out there to make the guys ready to play. But also, like, there's so much cross training to it too. Like, I wouldn't have been the player that I was if I didn't have to block Justin Houston, Tom Lee, Derek Johnson, Eric Berry when I was in Kansas City on the
Yep.
practice squad. Like, if I
Yep.
didn't have to deal with those guys on a consistent basis, my game wouldn't evolve the way it did. And I'm sure
Hmm.
you could kind of say the same thing. I mean, it's the same way as a freshman. Like Steven, you were on scout
Right.
team for a year or two at Carolina before you kind of worked your way up, and it's like it's just kind of it's just a earn your stripes in a
Yeah.
way.
No, absolutely. I mean, when I was up in Canada for, my rookie year, shit, we had the Tom Brady of Canadians, if that makes any
Mhm.
sense. And shit, dude, I got no reps, and I was running scout team kickoff, scout team punt coverage, punt, the whole operation. I was like, dude, this is stupid. What am I doing up here?
Yeah.
Um, and it's like I don't understand why I'm up here. But uh, that being said, I mean, Bailey, so were you guys doing a 1 year contract? I know is that a 1 year contract being a walk on, or how does that work?
We didn't have any sort
Or is that
of.
a 4 year deal?
Yeah. I mean, as far as I was concerned, it was a 4-year deal. We had guys that got
Mm.
cut. There wasn't a rhyme or reason really. I don't think anyone was promised a year. I don't think anyone was promised 4 years. I think it was like you said, just an earn your stripes mentality until you
Yeah.
lose
Yeah.
it. And so um, there was no job security at all. Some of the scholarship guys are, I think when you guys were playing, there may have been. Was there a renewal process for scholarships when y'all were playing? Was that a thing?
There was my last
Um,
year.
okay.
Pat,
Okay.
I don't know if you were part of that deal. I know my last year there was definitely a renewal, and you know, Cliff's going to be pissed off, but he was the guy that they're like, "Hey, we're not renewing your scholarship," kind of deal.
Yep.
And he's like, "Bullshit! You absolutely are. This is my last year, so you are."
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, man, yeah, that has there was a lot of contention going on in the latter part of my time in South Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah. So we didn't have that.
Was some of that self inflicted?
Very, very self inflicted. But yeah, dude, I mean, honestly, man, I want to kind of harp on this whole subject, and I'm not trying to like, you know, make fun or talk shit, but I think
Oh yeah.
fans would love to hear kind of an underdog story, and
Yeah.
because we've had like Melvin Ingram, we've had guys that went on to, play in the league for a long damn time.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but not only that, like
Scholarship guys.
we had like granted we played on some really good teams, but we had a lot of walk-ons that were impact players on special teams, some that
Yep.
earned starting spots on offense, defense. Like it is just the nature of the beast. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
get your jersey, you get your helmet, you're expected to go compete.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like you're a like you proved it. Like you were able to come in, work your way up, grind, and then you got your opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm grateful for the path that I had to take. I think it served me well post college. I think it served me well just in my life, kind of understanding the delayed gratification of like, hey, nothing's promised to you. You got to go out, earn your stripes every day. And ultimately it tests how much do you really love this game? How much do you
Yep.
love the guys around you? How much do you love just being in the shit of it all? Like like you said, every day you're getting a jersey, you're getting
You gotta
knocked
love
in
it.
for about two hours, and then you're waking up the next morning, you're doing it again. And so I think you have to make a choice of like, hey, am I going to lean in, or am I just, I thought it'd be cool to be on the team, but I didn't want to sign up for this. A lot of guys have to come to that decision pretty quickly as a walk on, whereas the 4-star 5-star may not have the same experience, and some do, but yeah, that was the mentality I tried to take on. Was like, hey, whatever I'm asked to do. One of my favorite quotes when I was there, I think it's a Martin Luther King Jr. quote, but Bobby Bentley, one of our coaches there, he said, if you're going to be a street sweeper, be the best damn street sweeper there ever was. And so that was the
Yep.
mentality that I tried to take on each and every day. It's like, hey, if you're asking me to snap a ball to Jake so he can get reps, I'm going to do it right. If you're asking me to play receiver and run a dig route, I'm going to run it to the best of my ability. If you're asking me to get my shit kicked in for an hour and a half, like I'm gonna do it with the right technique. And so,
Have it all,
um,
baby. Let's go.
yeah. So I think,
And honestly, I think that's a lost art, dude. I think in this day and age, everybody's like, no, I'm better than I'm too good. I'm too good to be a walk on. I'm too good to run routes. I'm a quarterback. I shouldn't be running routes. I should be playing. And I mean that's a testament to you as a player and as a person, dude. I mean that's
yeah,
in this day and age, man. Everybody's trying to haul ass and go to the next best thing. It's a lost art.
I
It's a
agree, and
process.
yeah, I think when you forego that, like you miss the lesson. You miss the growth.
Mhm.
You miss the struggle that leads to some sort of some sort of personal growth that's going to serve you later on. And so I'm grateful for people that continue to kind of speak into me when I was in kind of in the trenches with that, and continue to encourage me, my family, my friends, and people who just kind of stood by me. And because it is frustrating, you come from being, whether you're a walk on or you're the 5-star, like everybody on a college roster was the man at their high school. They were balling, like,
Yep.
Right.
there's guys all over the country that are balling that don't get offers and don't play college ball. So like everyone's coming from being a big fish in a small pond, so to speak. And so going from, hey, you've started the last 3 years of your career to, hey, you'd be lucky to get on the plane to fly out to Florida this week. Like that's difficult. Even if you you prepare your mentality for like, all right, this year, maybe next year, this is my role. That's still difficult to go from being a competitor and from being in the arena to having to cheer the boys on from the sideline. And so it definitely takes a toll mentally of, like I said, how much do you love football? How much do you want, to invest and wait and put in the time to see if, later on maybe you get a shot. And I was fortunate enough to get a shot. I think that mentality of like, hey, what can I do? I ended up playing a lot of wide receiver on scout team, which, like you said, Pat, it,
Yeah.
it was it was cross training for me. It was like, all right, I can run routes. I didn't realize I could run routes. I'm getting reps every day against J.C. Horn and Keyshawn Nixon
Yep.
running routes. Like that's difficult. I'm getting better.
Dude. Yeah. Hey, Gamecocks. At Granger Owings, style starts with you. From custom fits to emerging brands, they offer a curated selection of women's and men's clothing for work, weekends, and every moment in between. Their stylists take the time to understand your lifestyle, then help you build a wardrobe that fits your needs and feels like you. Shop in store, downtown on Main Street and Trenton Plaza, or book a fitting online at grangerowings.com. Granger Owings, where personal style meets personal service.
Listen up, Gamecock Nation. Meet your new favorite streamer, Deputy Smitty. A former police officer and diehard South Carolina Gamecock fan, Deputy Smitty brings action-packed content to life every night on Twitch starting at 9:30 p.m. Connect with him on social media by searching Deputy Smitty and join his growing community on Discord at discord.gg/Deputy Smitty. So grab a drink and catch the thrills, laughs, and plenty of Gamecock pride in every stream.
Tailgate Talks is brought to you by JCQ Farms, a proud South Carolina family farm rooted in tradition and built on quality. Whether it's their premium beef, farm fresh produce, or their signature smoked meats, JCQ Farms brings the taste of the South straight to your table. Perfect for your next tailgate, backyard barbecue, or family dinner. Remember, always support your American farms because they are drying out each day. Support local, eat better, and stock up for the season. JCQ Farms, where quality meets Carolina pride.
Yeah, I do. That's one thing that I do I do hate about college and even the NFL is the guys that put in the time, energy, effort, whether you're a scout team, whether you're a practice squad, whether you're a walk-on scholarship. Like I wish that everybody could travel and get to experience the games. Like it's bullshit that
Yeah,
like NFL. I think there's 12 practice squad guys now, but like they do everything that the all the normal players do. They do more in practice, and then they have to sit on the sofa and watch the game on TV. Like it is kind
it's
of shitty.
tough,
That is
man.
something I wish was changed. And I get the NFL owners only have $1 bajillion they can't pay for 12 guys to get on the fight.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Joking, but it is that is something that's always kind of chapped me a little bit because it's the starters aren't where they are if it's not for the guys that train them and get them ready and show them the
100%.
perfect look. Like,
Yeah,
Ernest Jones and Nicky didn't win the Super Bowl, last night if it wasn't for the left guard on the scout team that was climbing to the second level and blocking Ernest Jones. And,
yeah,
Nicky's not balling like he is if he doesn't have a badass scout team running back running choice option routes and really getting him dialed in. So,
yeah.
sorry for my tangent there.
No,
No, I mean, I think
I
I
agree.
think I think you hit the nail on the head, man. I think everybody's trying to make a roster spot. I think everybody's trying to get seen, and you got to do what you got to do at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Whether you're playing quarterback and they ask you to play receiver, all right, okay, let's go.
yeah,
Let's
yeah. I think that
change
was
the jersey number. Let's go.
yeah, and fortunately, I was able to. I played quarterback, so calling the signals on the sideline was how I punched my ticket on the bus. I think there was 2 games I didn't travel my freshman year, but learning the play calls. Hey, that's how I add value on Saturdays. That's how I get on the bus is holding my hands up with some red and yellow wristbands on and
Yeah.
communicating. And so I think there's something to be said about figure it out, find a way. And like I agree. I think it's a shame that people who are in the trenches day in and day out aren't getting an opportunity to at least experience, the game day
Man,
atmosphere.
that dude, like that's life, man. It's that is what it is. It is what it
Yeah.
is, and people work their balls off nonstop, and they don't get any sort of recognition. That's just
Yeah.
how it is.
And I think that's
Um,
one of the huge
but
lessons of football too, right? Is like there's no guarantees. Like
yeah, absolutely.
you could grind all season, all year, and you might not win a game.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Bailey, I want to ask you real quick before we move on to what you're doing now. If you had one message to give to, because I know you're training quarterbacks in Charleston. By the way, if you're in Charleston, you're listening to this. If you want to get some quarterback training, talk with this guy. He'll,
Come
he'll
on.
tell you the deal. I've seen him in action. Um, but hey, all bullshit aside, if you have one message to some parents, to some kids about being a walk on and kind of going through the whole process, go ahead.
Yeah, I think just, set your expectations. Understand understand where you are. You don't have to. I think for me, like confidence was always tough, right? Because you're in the locker room and you know
For
your
sure.
place. Like you know your place of like you're not the starter, you're not the second string, like you're the guy over there. But in like deep down, you can ball a little bit. And so it's like you start to believe the narrative that's told to you. And so I think there's a balance of like, hey, understand where you are, understand being accountable for that position, but understand that it's okay to have confidence that you can be better and that you've shown yourself and proven yourself to be better. But don't fault someone else for not seeing that because you haven't proven it to them yet. So I think there's this balance, and I teach my kids all the time. I'm like, you can be confident and critical of yourself. Like those two things can coincide, right? Like you can know that you're
For sure.
capable of balling and doing great things and winning games and being the guy, but also know that you missed 8 throws yesterday that you should have made. And then it's a matter of, all right, why did I miss those throws? How do I fix it? It's just a problem solving game. And I think kids nowadays, especially, get caught up in like, I'm not getting what I should be getting. And it's like, okay, maybe that's true. Like maybe you're better than where
Yeah.
they're measuring you, but like no one has an agenda to hold you down. No one wants to see you fail just to make you fail. Like take accountability for where you're at and go get it. Go show people, go prove people. And so I think as a walk on, especially, it was important for me to have that mindset of like, I know I'm capable of more. And I got down on myself a lot and had moments where I didn't have the confidence. I didn't have the belief in myself, but I just kept grinding. And so I think whether that part is there or not, if you keep your head down and you prove to yourself that you're good enough, eventually people around you they're gonna see it in some form or fashion, right? You may not be the guy ever, you may not be the starter, you may not get on the field, but I think if you ride it out and you really just commit yourself to doing the little things every day, then you're gonna get something out of it, and you're gonna be glad that you did it.
No, I think you're 100% right. I mean, keeping your head down and just knocking it out of the park. I wish that was true with golf because I keep my head down and I still suck,
You and me
and
both, brother.
it is what it is.
Well, let's not miss the fact that you played with a lot of dudes too. Like on that roster
Oh yeah,
that you
yeah.
had, like Kyle Markaway played in the NFL, Brian Edwards, the leading receiver in school history. Debo was there. Rico, AJ Turner, Tyson Williams. Like you had a bunch of dudes, Jake Bentley. I mean, you had a lot of dudes that you played with. Talk about some of those relationships you had with those guys and kind of like there's also a huge piece to being a freaking great dude and being a great teammate and being great in the locker room that there is so much intrinsic value that coaches see in that and they want those guys around. That's why you were a preferred walk-on.
Oh,
That's why you made the practice or the travel squad. That's why you ended up making, get an opportunity to get in the game and make plays. Talk about that a little bit. Talk about the relationship with some of those guys.
Yeah, yeah. Like you said, we had some dogs. It's fun to look in the league now and see how many of those guys are still balling and still playing. Like you said, Ernest Jones, Nicky Manwari winning a Super Bowl yesterday. But me and some of the buddies will just think about like, all right, Javon Kinlaw's still playing, Debo's still playing,
Yeah.
and it's a long list of guys who have figured it out and have always been that way. But yeah, it was great for me to see, especially going from like quarterback to wide receiver. I mean, I'm a big believer of like you are who you surround yourself with. And so I think I was so
for
fortunate to
sure.
be on a team of guys like that. You look at a Hayden Hurst who's in the weight room every day relentlessly. Kyle Markway's right there with him. You look at Debo Samuel, getting injured, working double time to come back from injury to go ball out the next year. And then obviously he's done had an amazing career in the NFL. And so being in the wide receiver room with him, being around a Jake Bentley and seeing his work ethic and the way that he devoted himself to watching film to rehab when he's injured. And so I think, having that walk on mentality, you kind of get to be a fly on the wall of like, it's not time for me to really put this stuff on the field yet, but you're able to take in so much. And it's kind of like being the younger brother. I was, you know, my two older brothers did everything that I wanted to do. And so I got to see, okay, he went that path and that's kind of how it worked out for him. He did that path. It's kind of how it worked out for him. So I think just such a blessing to be around guys like that to pick and choose of like, all right, that's how I want to model my work ethic. All right, that's okay. That's route running wise. That's how I can be a little bit better watching Debo or whoever it is. But we also just had a fun group of dudes. Like me and Jake were very close. We were the same year. And then Parker White was a guy I went to high school with, all time leading point scorer for the Gamecocks. Now he got his doggone name on the stadium. And Chandler Farrell's another guy. Will Putnam, Keel Pollard was a dude on the field, but also just one of the boys. Sammy Carle, offensive lineman. So we had a good culture, I think, on our team where it wasn't like the studs and then everybody else, where it was like this elitist culture. I think some teams fall into that, but y'all may say the same thing. But when people are always like, "Oh, do you miss it?" Man, I just miss the locker room. I miss coming in from
Every day,
fully exhausting
every
yourself and
day.
just cutting up for an hour with the boys.
Yeah. I don't
There's
want to
there's
leave
no,
this
there's
part.
nothing there's nothing like it. Yeah, there's
Nothing
nothing
like
like
it.
it.
Can't duplicate it.
I mean, I love my kids and I love my wife as she's sitting over there staring me down. Dude, there's nothing like that locker room, man. I mean, shit, Pat, you remember that that locker room was
It was
the
wild.
danger zone. Oh,
Yeah,
it was
it
absolutely
was.
insane. But I mean, that's why we were good, man. And Pat's harped on it several times, and I couldn't agree more, man. That's why we were good, man. We had such a good ass locker room, man. Like we all got along, we all with each other, and it was incredible.
Now, Bailey, you were on the team that transitioned out of stadium into facility, weren't you?
I was, yeah. I think that was
Were
my going in my junior year.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that. Like, I mean, Steven and I can
That
harp
I
on
mean
how
that
bad
place
the
is
facilities were. Yeah.
yeah. Oh man, my freshman year we came in for those first runs, 32 110s or whatever it was, and we're in the visitors locker room because they're redoing the home locker room, and I'm like what are we doing? This is Gamecock, like this is Gamecock facilities. This is what we got, and it was humbling for
Should have
sure.
went to
But
Elon. Elon
I
was
know,
this
I know,
nice.
right? So yeah, should have found a way to walk on somewhere else. But no, yeah, the facilities were, they were decent. When they redid the locker room at the stadium, it was solid. And then yeah, that 2018 year when they did the facility, it was night and day. Having the indoor right
Oh,
there,
man.
having the you guys will get a kick out of this. They got the recording studio in there. I spent a lot of late nights in the recording studio putting down tracks, boys.
Oh,
I
are
got a few.
you a freestyler?
Bullshit.
I'm a freestyler,
Bullshit.
baby. I'm a freestyle. I got 3 tracks.
Oh,
I'll send y'all after the call. I got 3.
Do it
They're
now.
they're they're rough cuts. They're not ready for the radio yet, but we got after
Well,
it a few nights
that's
in
gonna
there.
be that's gonna you got to send it to Dakota, and that's gonna be
Okay.
your intro for this
yeah, that'll be
episode.
the intro for the
I
show.
It,
100%.
I
it might be
would, but
it might be the intro for the whole show. Honestly.
I when I say rough cuts, I mean like language, like rough, like y'all heard the Seventh Floor Crew, like the Miami joint, like it's. My
Oh
mom
yeah.
can't hear that on Instagram, like that. That's not
It's not
that's
allowed
not
to get
that's not
anywhere else.
okay. I might lose my job if they get if they hear what 18-year-old me was spitting in a recording studio.
That is awesome.
Well, I got to hear it now. Now you got me.
Well,
At first, I
send
wasn't
it to us, and
curious.
I'll
we
I'll send
promise
it to
it
you in an
stays.
encrypted file. How about that?
All right,
Steven
deal.
doesn't know
Sign
what
an
that is.
NDA.
Yeah, I know encryption now. I'm not a complete.
Well, talking about like just a quick one or two of your like favorite moments playing at Carolina, I guess on the field, since you already harped on kind of the relationships and stuff you built, but talk about one or two big games, and then we'll get into what you did, what you're up to post ball.
Yeah, my on the field resume, it's not. You can Google it pretty quick. I had 1 catch for 13 yards against Coastal Carolina, which was cool. That was my first year playing. I had just transitioned to wide receiver the spring before going into my junior year, and that was the first game of the year. First season I'd made the switch, and so we got up a little bit. I think third or fourth quarter, coach throws me in, me and Scarnecchia back there, and he throws me a hitch. I run a hitch. Hits me right in the chest. I drop it. I'm like, dude, what are we doing? I'm like, you've waited 2 years for this, and we just muffed it. And I'm on the Coastal sideline, and they're like, "White boy, you're trash. They're chirping me, and I'm like, "Bro, we cannot go out like this." And so we go back a few plays later, and I had like a little skinny post, like a little bang eight, and Scar painted it on me, and we moved the chains, had a little first down. So that
That's
was a
good.
highlight, just kind of a moment where the 2 years of uncertainty of like, man, am I ever really gonna even touch the field? Kind of comes to light in a way I didn't expect it, playing a different position than what I played my whole life. So that was a high moment for sure. And then the second would be, so you guys may not even remember this or have seen this play, but we're playing Missouri my senior year, and I'm at the point where I'm pretty frustrated. I'm like, on some special teams, getting some burn here and there, nothing crazy. I'm not starting on anything. And I'm like, man, I'm a senior. I put in so much time. I'm like, I want to contribute somewhere. Like I want to find a way somewhere and kind of go out on a high note. And so it's kind of weighing on me. I was praying about it a bunch. I'm like, God, just do something, and I remember waking up Monday morning of that Missouri game week, and I just had this feeling of like, man, I got this good feeling. I got something weird might happen. Coach Hutzler, our special teams coordinator, pulls me aside before our team meeting. He's like, hey, we got something for you. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I don't play. Like, I'm on
Jesus.
special teams. I'm getting like 8 snaps
Put
a
me in,
game on
coach.
special teams. What do you mean you got something for me? And so we go into the team meeting, and he's like, Bailey, stand up, and I stand up in the team meeting, and he's like, puts up some play on the board. And I was number 16. Danny Gordon was number 17. He was our holder for PATs and all that. And so he's like, we got a white unathletic holder, number 17. He's like, we're just gonna swap him out with a white unathletic holder, number 16. He's like, we're gonna call it black package or whatever. And so the play was Danny holds every kick throughout the game. And then when they call black, I just run on the field instead of him, line up, and I catch it. And I'm supposed to run off tackle, and they had a whole blocking scheme. We put in a fake every week. You guys know, like, you always have a fake in the bag. You never run out shit. Like, so I'm sitting there like, this is cool. Like, I appreciate it, coach. Like, I appreciate the love, but like, no part of me is like, here we go, Saturday. I'm gonna run the fake. And so we run it a few times in practice. I'm like, this is kind of it's kind of a good little play here. It's schemed up pretty nicely, and we get in the game against Missouri. And it turns out to be a dogfight. It's like a monsoon. I don't know if y'all remember that game, but it was just piss and rain. We're soaked. Everybody's changing cleats.
That was Skarneckia's game, right?
Yeah. Jake was out, and so Scar played. Scar played out of his mind. But we're all just drenched. We're going back and forth with Mizzou. And first quarter, second quarter, I'm kind of like on the edge of my seat, like, all right, I'm ready to go if they call this thing. And they don't call it. Halftime comes and goes. We don't really talk about it at half. Third quarter, I think it was the fourth quarter. Third quarter kind of comes and goes, and I'm just like, all right, I'm just sitting on the sideline hoping we win the game at this point. And we get back to, we're in their territory, getting a field goal kind of position, and they're like, black, black, black. And I'm like, oh shit, this is me. And so I'm sitting on the bench, like hanging out. I'm like, where's my? It's like Friday Night Lights when PD doesn't have his helmet. He's like, you don't have your helmet, water buff. That's me. I'm like, yo, can I get your helmet? I finally find my helmet. I'm running on. It's like 10 seconds left on the clock as I'm running onto the field. I set up. Parker's looking at me like, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I set up, and all of a sudden I hear the Missouri coaches going, hey, Holder, that's the guy, whatever. And I see the linebackers start to move, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, Parker, let's go. So he's lining up. We call it. It's like 4th and 8. I run off tackle. I get tackled for like 6.5, 7 yards. I'm like, dude. And I was like, that was my moment. I'm like in this dog pile. I'm running off all defeated. And I'm like, dude, if we lose this game, and I was a yard short, like that's going to haunt me forever. And so we end up, everybody's high five. I kind of did my job, nothing crazy. But Parker ends up winning the game on it.
Usually you're not trying to call a fake field goal on 4th and 8. Usually that's like a 4th and 2 or 4th and 3.
That's
right.
Set you up. They put you in a shitty situation. You got set up. You got set up. They set me up on that one.
I'm an accountability guy, but don't put me 4th and 8. You know what I mean? Don't set me up like that. But so Parker wins the game winner. All is well, happy ending sort of situation. We come back to tape on Monday morning, and Hutzler's like, Bailey. He's like, your boy Kiel, you got to talk to him. He screwed you over. And so he plays the film. Eye in the Sky Don't Lie. He plays the film, and Blake Camper was offensive lineman, good buddy, was supposed to kick out, and Kiel was supposed to come up the hole and hit the backer, that second level guy, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. So Kiel blocked Blake's guy. And so now Blake's in the hole, like, oh, where do I go? And so, his 6'8", 310-pound ass is not going to get to the second level after he pulled, from 3 spots away. And so I end up kind of like riding him for the 7 yards. But like you can see it clear as day on film. If Blake does his job and Kiel gets up the hole, like I'm gone. I'm taking this thing for 6. And so I never forgave Kiel. I'm like, man, you just did me dirty. That was my moment.
That's hilarious.
That is a hell of a story.
Oh, well, that just goes to show you. I mean, the Bill Belichick saying is like, you're 111, do your job.
Yeah.
I mean, all it takes is one. It takes one to fuck up a play to completely ruin it.
Yep. That's why it's the greatest sport in the world, man, in my opinion.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
All right, well, talk to us. You finishing up, and what'd you step into right when you finished up playing in Carolina? And then where has that journey kind of led you back here to Charleston now?
Yeah, I've had an interesting career since Carolina. Like, coming out, COVID was kind of funky. My last year, I just remember being like, man, what am I gonna do? I don't know. I was a public health major. I enjoyed that, but I didn't really know how that was gonna translate to making money. And Perry Orth, who was a senior when I was a freshman, so we played together a year. He kind of ended up being sort of a mentor to me, and he had been in the workforce a little bit. He's like, "Hey, I got a buddy who does medical device sales. I think you'd be a good fit. Why don't you talk to him?" So I talked to him. I was like, "Man, this career seems pretty cool." I ended up interviewing. It didn't work out, but I was like, "Man, I think this career is what I want to try and do." And it's a pretty hard field to break into, especially like fresh out of college, not having any experience. So in my mind, I was like, "All right, let me try and get some sort of clinical experience, some sort of sales experience." So I graduate. COVID happens. I'm at home for a few months, and I get a job offer to run a COVID testing lab in my hometown for a pharmacy. Where they're like, "Hey, we know this isn't like your career aspiration, but if you kind of grind it out for a little while, we think there could be some good money here, and then we'll kind of move you into a sales and marketing role once things die down with the pandemic." And so, I mean, I didn't have another option. I was like, I got to make money and get out of my parents' house, so let's do it.
Yeah.
So I gave COVID tests for like 8 months or 10 months. And I would like go sell to like schools and clinics around the area. So it was like a sales kind of slash clinical job. It was hell.
Yeah.
I love the people I worked with, but it was like freshman year as a walk on all over again. Just having to like set my face to go to work, bro. We're doing like 300 COVID tests a day out of a Mercedes Sprinter van with me and like a part time nurse. I'm like, what? I'm like, what are we doing, bro? But it was great. I love the people I work for. They're big Gamecocks, Scott and Dottie Farfone. It's Dottie's Pharmacy in Charleston. It's a great
Yeah.
pharmacy, great business, great people. But it was just like one of those pandemic things where you're like, bro, what am I doing right now?
Yeah. You
But
leave playing in the SEC and you're shoving swabs up people's noses now.
exactly, yeah. It was a humbling experience, but it in the same way as like being a walk on, it was a great experience for me. Of like, all right, you've done that, you gritted it out, you proved to yourself that you could kind of roll with the punches in that way. And so there was a lot of lessons I learned from that. Ended up doing sales and marketing for the pharmacy for a year. Really enjoyed that, and then still kind of have my sights on medical device sales. The guy who Perry introduced me to, his name's Andrew Mason. He was in Charleston at the time. You boys know Andrew Bobbitt. So, so he was in Charleston. They had an opening on his team. So I go interview with them. I end up they offer me the job, and I'm fired up. I'm like, man, this is what I've been working for the past 2 years. I'm so excited. And then I get kind of a random call out of nowhere. Jay Urich, one of my best buddies, guy I played with at Carolina, calls me out of nowhere. I'd accepted the new job. I'm at the last day at the pharmacy. I put in my 2 weeks. I'm like, man, I'm gonna go travel for a little bit and then start this new job. Sitting in my car on my lunch break, I get a call from Jay. He's like, "Hey man, what's up? How you living? I got this opportunity." Da 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 da. He's like, "Russell Wilson, personal assistant. What do you think? You interested?" And I'm like, "Whoa, like back up. What are we talking about?"
Yeah.
And he's like,
What just
"Oh, like
happened?
yeah, I'm like what? I'm sitting in my car eating a Subway sandwich on my lunch break. Like, what are we talking about Russell Wilson for?" Um, and so he's like, "Yeah, he's looking for a personal assistant. Like, what do you think? You interested?" I'm like, "Yeah, like what do we? Yeah, it's Russell Wilson. Sure, I'm interested. Like, yeah, whatever."
Yeah.
And so 5 minutes later, Russell FaceTimes me. And he's like, "What's up, dude? Like, tell me about yourself. Here's what I'm looking for." I'm like, this is just so random, but so crazy. Like, yeah, cool. He's like, "What do you think? You interested?" I'm like, once again, you're Russell Wilson. You're Russell Wilson. Like, sure. I'm interested.
I'm there. You're Russell Wilson. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. It was like, and there's not many NFL guys where I would have been like, let me drop everything. But I'm like, guy like Russell Wilson, quarterback, uses his platform well, like, seemed to be a
Yeah.
good dude, likable dude, like top of his game at the time. Like, I was like, yeah, well, yeah, this is a no brainer. So he's like, "All right, can you be on a flight to California tonight?" And I'm sitting in South Carolina in my car on my lunch break. Like, I got 2 weeks off. Like, it's my last day of work. Like, yeah, yeah, I can be in California. So never lived out of the state, never been to the West Coast ever. 3 hours later, I'm on a plane to California for 2 days to interview for this job. And interviewed, really enjoyed spending time with him and his family. And a week and a half later, he offered me a job like 3 days before I was supposed to start my medical device job. And so I call them, and they're my team now. It's actually who I work with now. And they're like, dude, we get it. Like, yeah, go. Like it's all good. Don't sweat it. We totally understand that's an opportunity you have to take. And so I went and did it, and was with him for about a year. Crazy year, just kind of learning so much, getting exposed to so much. It was cool too, just to be around football again and be around a guy who's done it at such a high level for so long, and learn from him and experience kind of, what it's like, what it's like through his perspective. And so
Was he Denver or Seattle?
yeah, so it was his first year in Denver. So he had just moved there, was looking for somebody, and so I lived in Denver with him during the season, and then the off season we were out in San Diego.
Heard he had a pretty small house in Denver.
Yeah, his house there was just yeah, it wasn't great. Not enough bathrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I remember reading an article about it. What was it, like 20 something bathrooms?
I don't even know, man. It was a lot. I think it was like 12 or 13 or something. I don't know. It was a really, really nice house. Yeah.
We played Russell when he played at NC State. Played him twice, both
Yeah.
years, junior and senior. Dude, he's a stud. I've never played against or with anybody that ever had anything bad to say about Russell Wilson. Like, just the person he is, his mentality, his leadership skills. Actually, in the 2015 Pro Bowl, he was he was the quarterback of our team at it, and he was
Nice.
freaking awesome. Like, it's a big party, but he took it like dead serious. He's installing, like, he's putting in different cadences, and everyone's like, every plays on one, Russell. We're not doing hard count.
Yeah.
We're not doing quick count.
Yeah.
Like, every play's on one, and we have 9 plays.
Yep.
But he's just an intense dude.
Yep. Yeah, he's very much like that Kobe mentality where it's just like you don't turn it off. It's like sometimes you're like, man, I wish he would just turn it off and lay back, but he's not built that way. It doesn't turn off, and that's why he's Super Bowl champ, future Hall of Famer. And so it was cool to just spend time with him, to see his process, to see the way he approaches the game, approaches his family, approaches his faith. Like, it was a really, really great experience for me to get way outside my comfort zone and learn from somebody, like him.
Yeah, that's awesome. Not many people have that opportunity. And just a really, really cool life experience. And I bet you learned a ton. Probably learned more than you wanted to about, like, the NFL process and all the bullshit that goes into it too.
Yeah, it was crazy.
How and why did you get out of it? And then that's what ended up leading you back to Charleston, and now with the with Johnson & Johnson, right?
Yeah. With Johnson Johnson, I do orthopedic trauma, medical device sales here in Charleston. So, yeah, it was amazing experience, but it was the lifestyle is, you're with him, you're rocking and rolling 24/7. And so, he made that pretty clear going into it. It wasn't like a surprise or anything. And at the time I was 25, I was single, I was no family, I'd never lived outside of South Carolina. I was up for it, but, doing it a year and just kind of, you make sacrifices in terms of your time, in terms of, seeing your family, seeing your friends back home. And I would do that again. I would make that sacrifice, but I got to a point where I just didn't necessarily see there being like a career out of it, out of kind of working up through that role. And because I was sacrificing so much just in terms of time and some of the freedoms that I desired to have as a 25, 26-year-old guy, and this role came back available, and so the timing just kind of worked out where it was this role being available, and I still kind of had conviction of like, all right, I do think this career path is for me, in medical device sales, and still kind of had a passion for it. And I was at a point with him where I was like, man, I've done this, and I've experienced it, and I've lived it. And I just, I'm not sure how sustainable it is long term for something that I'm not certain is going to be a career path for me.
Yeah. It's great. Well, no, it's we all got our calling, and one of our really good buddies, Zach Brentnice, actually is in med device down in South Florida, and it is it's a lot of people say it is the most translatable business for an athlete. Like, it's very competitive, it's strenuous, it's high motor, like all the work ethic stuff that you learn as a student athlete, as an athlete in general. there's a lot of carryover. And it's a dog-eat-dog world. You got to go out and perform.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I know it's getting late, but we really do appreciate you coming on and sharing your story.
Yeah, man.
It's one that I know our listeners are really going to enjoy. It's a different side of things than they usually hear about. But in your 2 touches, when you wore the garnet and black, 2 pretty good touches, but you made so much more impact off the field and all the things that you're doing. I was seeing you kind of ran like a team Bible study, and you were one of the sponsors of FCA and all that stuff, and being the teammate that you were, and obviously all the relationships that you formed here at Carolina, it goes so far beyond that. So as a Gamecock letterman, I appreciate your time at Carolina and all that you did to impact the university. And I know that you're still impacting people now and coaching the young kids and all that stuff. So we really appreciate you, dude.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you guys for saying that, and I appreciate the opportunity at Carolina. I'm so grateful to have worn the garnet and black. I think I've learned so many lessons that like I said, just are still with me as I get older and grow in different parts of life. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to wear the garnet and black. I'm grateful for the opportunity to get on the podcast with the boys. I don't get too many requests. The line's not blowing up for the Bailey Hart podcast appearance. So it's nice to have a little cameo for the first time in a while.
No, man, I was, we're looking for guys that, I think have a good story to tell. And I was like, dude, why the not Bailey Hart, man? Like this guy has a little story to tell and a different, change of pace and shit, man. You're a hell of a storyteller anyways.
Yeah. Do you make it back to Columbia much?
I do. Yeah, I try and get to at least 2 games a year. I work a decent amount of weekends with my job, so I kind of just see how it all shakes out. But I definitely get to a few home games every year. The Chandler Farrell family tailgate. If you guys haven't been by there, the Smoking Rooster, they got the barbecue going. Y'all have to come out for a few cold ones next season.
He's a local chiropractor, right?
He is. Yeah. Shameless plug there. Chandler Farrell Spine Pain Center, Somerville, South Carolina. Go get it done with the kid.
I love it. Gamecocks helping Gamecocks. That's what we're all about. Well, Bailey, we appreciate you, dude. Make sure you hit me up next time you come up to Columbia for a game. I'm here. I would love to cheers a beer to you, buddy.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'll send you guys that song off the record, though.
Let's go.
Yeah, please do. I got to hear it.
Give you a little song, a little taste.
All right.
That was awesome, man. I appreciate you hopping on, dude.
All right, fellas.